Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob Has a Podcast. And now here's the guy who once upon a time would have nailed getting the Freakiest Freak Award. I am Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our episode 11 feedback show. And we are blessed once again because we have one of the great guests that you could ever hope to have on any podcast here with us today. Of course, he is our longtime friend, and he is the host and creator of the Purple Pants podcast that you can hear twice a week on RHAP. Please welcome back the Purple Pants badass, the great Brice Izyah. Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
Let's get all week.
Yeah.
Robert.
Don't have to be neat.
Okay.
All night. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Baby
I haven't
boy.
listened to that in a while. Yes.
It's been a long time. I feel like that's how you first discovered the baby boy
Yes.
back in Cagayan preseason. I was like,
Yeah.
what in the world is going on?
I know. It's been a minute, but it's amazing that you've stayed so young. Yes. And Brice, how are you doing this weekend?
I am good. I'm excited to be up talking to the baby boy about Survivor. Just happy to be here.
Happy to be with you. How was Brice and Wen present Philly, the homecoming?
The homecoming, Philadelphia turned it out. It was so much fun seeing a lot of new faces. Russell Swan was there. Azza, Derek, the cookout showed up. It was just great. And it was a great episode to watch with a live audience because it was a lot of, oh my God, don't do that. So it was just spectacular. And I just love the events that we have curated with Brice and Wen present. It's just such a fun and amazing time. You can come by yourself, but just be prepared to leave with a lot of friends.
Yes. And we got together back in New York the week before. It was so great to see you in person.
It was like so weird to see you, like the bottom half of you. I was like, oh my God, Rob's a whole I forgot you was a whole person. I'm just so used to the square of Robert. Then I'm like, oh, there's Robert. So yes, it was so much fun to see you.
Because I hadn't seen you in person for I don't know since when. What that was it in 2019?
I think it might have been in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Since that spring.
Yeah. So it's been a while, but you know, they say
3 years.
Yeah, that's a really long time. And did they say, is it distance makes the heart fonder, or time and space? Something makes the heart grow fonder.
You were more fond of me since the last time. Oh,
I'm just saying, since I haven't seen you, it made my
absence.
Yes, absence.
Yeah.
Not abstinence.
Distance, I think, is that it's not cheating if you are in a far enough away. Was that it?
Wait, what?
No, okay, all right. That was something else I had heard a long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, but Brice, so happy to have you here with us to talk about a very exciting conclusion as we are now within 2 weeks of the finale of Survivor 42. And as I heard you talk about on the Survivor News this weekend, of course, with Wendell and Jack Atkins, not to forget Jack Atkins. Yeah. And you're talking about what a great season it's been. And I have to agree.
I love it. And I've been saying this, and I know people were not happy with 42. They're like, what is this? All these new twists. Where's the monster? I dropped the 4, kept the 1, and what happened?
Who was not happy with 42?
I just felt like, because, I likes to peruse the Twitters. I likes to read the comments on the Reddit. So I know I'm setting myself up, but I just feel like there's so many people that are like, oh, yeah, this new twist. I can't believe it. You smacked the hourglass and the time came back. So what I do love is I love the sequence of them doing back back-to-back seasons that are similar, because it really is like, if Survivor is a social game, it's a social game or a social experiment within an experiment, that if you do the similar things with totally different people, it's so interesting to see the outcome of it. However, watching 41, it does make me feel a little bad, or watching 41 and 42, it makes me feel a little bad for 41, because I feel like 41 was like the guinea pigs. We're going to test this out. And I feel like they were able to fine tune a lot of the mechanics of the things. And I feel like as viewers seeing 41, you're like, what is this? Knowledge is power. You can still vote, and all of these things that we're like, and Jeff, and we have to get, Jeff on the camera. Hey guys, this is what we're doing today. This is how you explain it. And now we already know. So it's like, baby boy, we don't need you no more, Jeff. And now we can expect it. And us kind of knowing the twist, it's very interesting to see how it will play out, or how the new people play within this realm. So I like this. I don't know what they're doing for like the next 2 seasons, but keep it somewhat similar, because I think it's just so interesting to see the outcome.
Would you like to see them do like, okay, this is like the new format of Survivor, or do you want to see them do something that's also like 43 is going to be pretty different, but then 43 will be like a 44 will be like a carbon copy of a 43?
I mean, I personally like it. I know it probably will get redundant after a while, but I for 43 and 44, I would love to see something similar like this, because I think it just makes it so interesting.
Yeah.
And it makes me pay closer attention to the edit and different things in a way that I normally wouldn't do in previous seasons.
I want to ask you about something that you were talking about on the podcast this week, where you seemed to be like a pretty strong defender of the do or die twist. You felt like that you really liked it. You liked having the players on their toes. I just want to explore that a little bit with you.
Yes, I as with the hourglass, I really like that twist, because I feel like it shakes the game up in a way that you just can't prepare. And I think a part of Survivor is, when you land out there, you don't know how you're going to fit in with the tribe. You don't know what's going to happen. And sometimes it's like the luck of the draw for the early merge boots to go home, and it's like no rhyme or reason to it. And so I kind of like keeping that in the end of the game, because it's like you just never know, because it really gives an advantage to somebody that could be on the bottom, and all of a sudden somebody that has been running the show does do or die, and they happen to die, not in real life, but on the thing, and then it just shakes it up, and now it's like it's a whole new ball game. So any opportunity to break down the structure of the stronger alliance and open the playing field up to the other players that may be feeling like, I'm just here, I'm just making another day, I'm always for.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying in terms of like wanting to do that. I think that in practice, as I've been thinking about this, like I think the do or die really ended up helping Jonathan this week. And I think that the way that it's sort of designed for is to like make less people want to be in the challenge. So I feel like that it's really helping the people that are the challenge beasts. And I feel like that there's so many things that are already helping those players. Like I feel like that they don't need another thing that is gonna help them.
Agreed. But I mean, if it were a dare I say, a puzzle or a math challenge, I
Oh,
don't know whether or not,
okay.
I don't know whether or not the baby boy that is Jonathan would have been the challenge beast. If he would have
Yeah.
said 6 triangles, sir. It's clearly 32.
Yeah.
But
Interesting. So I wonder, like, what if it was a do or die? Could you do a do or die with a challenge that was not a physical competition, like what we saw this week?
I think so. Yeah, like it could be a puzzle. Listen, it could. I feel like they should have done a karaoke off, or a singing contest, or a talent show, and then Jeff has to judge.
Yeah, I wonder, could they have done it where we had like the one that Tori won to start the merge with, like, okay, you have the rope and you pull in the rope and the thing. And it's like, but if your blocks fall on the ground, all right, that's it. You're done.
You're right. Absolutely. I don't see why you couldn't. And honestly, I think it makes it more interesting because you're right. It does give the more stronger players an advantage if it's an endurance or a strength-based approach challenge. But again, even thinking about it, I was just thinking, like, if I were out there, would I have done it? because there's so many things to think about, because honestly, you just have to be not the first person out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, my odds on that aren't that great. So I might just have to sit that one out. But you just think about like, well, I know I can at least beat Rob. But then it also comes into play that like, well, you might sit out. So then if I say and I can beat Rob and then you don't pick it, and then I'm like, oh, darn it, I got to go up against Jamal or Wendell. So it's just an interesting type of play. And I also feel like it really illuminates, if I were in a Romeo position,
Yeah.
it illuminates the people that sit out. I feel like it can tell you something about their position in the game or how they feel. Like for someone like Tori, who's like, Lindsay. We love Tori though, but Lindsay is like she feels like as though she has to compete. And for me, it's just like, okay, in my mind, I'd be like, okay, that told me something. Maybe we need to go after her.
Yeah. Whenever we talk about you and how you would play, that it is so interesting to think about you returning to Survivor and what that would be like, because I feel like that we didn't get to see you compete in these individual challenges, and I feel like that. Am I crazy to think that you might be really good at some of these challenges?
I mean, Robert, you trying to put a target on my back of a
I'm not
season that I'm
trying.
not even
Come
on?
Come on. How many? Yeah. Who's listening to this? Come on. Who's
Yeah,
listening that's going to target you?
I oftentimes think of that, of how I would have done in the game. And I also think about, I mean, I'm not super physical, but baby boy can compete. I think that what my biggest weapon it would be is like my relational skills. And so I always
Sure.
have this
No doubt.
argument with Wendell about and this is just hypothetical, and don't nobody come for me in the comments, but I just think that, like, say I in that vote in Cagayan and I voted Morgan out, and then I could have made it to the merge. I just wonder, like, I wonder if Tony would have won. I wonder what my relationships with a Trish, or how myself interjecting with a Cass and a Spencer, or like, or what my relationship would have been like with a Tony. How, what could or would have happened for me. I think about that a lot. Just in my, like, oh my God, you think I could have helped, or I could have been in the cops a lot. I could have been the cops or us. I'm not a cop, but I would have said I'm a cop. Like, I just, I used to be a safety in school. Does that count?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when we're talking about the challenges, also that I feel like that, a lot of the challenges that they do, like, I feel like I could see you doing very well in a lot of these challenges that they have on Survivor now.
I mean, I would think so. And I'm the type of person, when they are doing the challenges, I'm sitting at home like, can I hold it?
Yeah.
Wendell's like, why do you have your hands up when you watch the show? I'm like, I'm trying to see if I could do it. So yeah, it would be interesting to see. You never know. Maybe.
Now, you brought up Romeo, and I think that Romeo is really interesting to talk about, and he really probably hasn't been talked about enough here in these last couple of weeks. And Romeo was my winner pick in the season. I thought that Romeo was doing such a good job in the first part of the season, but then he just seemed to just run into the merge, and nobody wanted to work with him anymore. But here he is at the end, and nobody ever even talks about he's the decoy every week. He's the person, and I think he sort of like he stole that from Tori, where if the guys would have voted out Romeo at that, I think Tori would be in this spot now, where it's like the decoy is going to be Tori every single week, and then it's never actually Tori. But here's Romeo, and so is there hope for Romeo, Brice?
So listen, y'all know me. I love an underdog, and I I I I I think very highly of Romeo. And after seeing 41, and we see the Erica edit, and we see how, Erica all of a sudden came out the end, I asked the question, in these 2 episodes, could Romeo pull it out? I don't know. I think that he is in a particular position. We see he's strategic. We see he knows the game, and then he got into the merge, and I feel like he just became on the outside. And for me, that resonates with me, because I know what it's like to be on the outside. So it's like, I have hope for him. I definitely think he will be sitting at the final 3, and not for nothing, depending on what he can do in these next 2 episodes, it could mean a lot because he could be sitting next to a Jonathan in uh, or I'm sure I don't know who he could sit next to. But I dare I say, if he were to make some big moves and to get out a big player and then sit at the end and be like, nobody wanted to work with me, I got here. I don't know. I still think there is hope for Romeo.
I'm not as hopeful for Romeo, and I feel like that has Romeo given up to some degree, and not to say that he's like quitting the game or anything like that, but like I think that he seems a little bit more like resigned to his fate in the game, and I do think Romeo is going to be in the final three. But I think he's going to be in the final three, and I don't think he's going to get any votes. We saw him in the first half of the game. He was so active. And then he got to the merge, and he was like, hey, I'm not just going to sit here, especially like when the hourglass broke and he was safe. You saw him trying to go to Tori and try. But I just feel like that he's been so boxed in now at this point where that I think he feels like, okay, well, like I'm not going to try and get anything going. I'll let people come to me. But I think that there's a little bit of just like that, passiveness to the game at this point where if he gets to the end, I think it would be very hard for him to beat two people.
So my question to you is like, what is actually winning the game of Survivor?
Yes.
Because I think it's somewhat relative to the person. You know me, and any of the listeners know, for me, winning Survivor is making the merge and eating the merge feast. Like that for me is like, if that would have happened to me, I would have felt like I won. And so, of course, in the game of Survivor, there is a winner and then there are losers or people that don't win. But I think that for Romeo's game, maybe it literally could be, let's just get as far as we can go. And again, it excites me. Romeo is a queer person of color, and a lot of times in Survivor, we don't necessarily get to see the queer person of color get this far. You know, they're oftentimes maybe like a queer white person that can get this far, but we don't necessarily get to see a queer man of color get this far. So for me, I'm just rooting for Romeo, and however far he can get, in my opinion, is a win for me and for the next queer person watching of color. It could be like, well, listen, I see what Romeo did, and I could like, so for me, I the fact that he is still there, and people doubted him, and people that were in his alliance and working with him, where they at? They on the jury. So again, winning in my book is relative to the person. Obviously, it also is relative to the bank account because $1 million does say something. But I just think that maybe his gameplay is to get as far as I can go. And if he is okay with that, and that might be a win for him. So I'm here for the Romeo.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if he can pivot in some way. I just think he has his work cut out for him, as to say, like at the end, like I think that people are looking for somebody who, like even Erica last season, was able to say like, hey, I voted correctly every single time, where Romeo has kind of had the opposite of that, where that he, can't really say, hey, I knew what was going on. Nobody was listening to me, but I knew. Like he's kind of been sort of just like left out there in the wind a little bit over these last couple of weeks. But, you never know what's going to happen. Just going back to Erica, something else that I heard you talk about on the Purple Pants podcast this week, which I thought was very astute, was that there was some talk about like, okay, well, Erica was a very under-edited winner of season 41. And will we have that same sort of thing of like, who is the Erica in this season? And I've heard a lot of people say that, oh, well, could Lindsay be the Erica in season 42? And actually, I disagree with that that thought, because Lindsay and Erica, I think, are completely different players. And Lindsay has played a much different game to Erica. But you said that is Marianne the Erica of season 42?
So I think was very interesting in this episode that we saw, episode 11, when we see Lindsay like going back and forth saying like she wants to get Jonathan out, and then we see Romeo, and Romeo is saying like, I just let the people cannibalize and they come to me, and then we get this confessional from Marianne, and she says, I'm not really a target, and that's a good thing. And Marianne, when you think about Marianne, she was a big portion of the first part of the season. And just because she
Yes.
is a new type of player that us as Survivor fans have not seen, and we love her innocence. We love her just everything about her. She just is so happy and joyous. However, we also saw in the beginning part, she was strategic. She knew how to like use different emotions and things to kind of get what she wanted. She aligned with the right people. And during that tribal council that was, that brought up Brice, we got to see her speak. And the way that she spoke was so eloquent. And she can use her voice. And so I say, and who has she really wronged? She's really been working with people and kind of doing what she needs to do. So when that conversation came up, it dawned on me, I was like, well, could she have the Erica edit? And not even, and I, honestly, that's a winner's edit.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that Marianne has put herself in a great position. Even what I was saying about Romeo, these next 2 episodes are really going to determine a lot. And you know me, I am a huge fan of Omer. I think that he is playing the game amazingly. I am just so nervous for him because, again, I'm thinking of 41. His edit and how vocal he is in a lot of different things reminds me of Shan. And, Shan was a lot of people's winner pick. And then we kind of sort of see what happened to Shan, even though Omar has made it a little further than Shan. But I worry for O in the sense that the type of game that he is playing is very like in your face, like I'll do what you want, I'll do what you like, whatever you need. And then kind of he's been working the back end of things. And when you get down to 5 players, you get down to 6 players, it's a lot easier for those other players to start comparing notes and start paying attention to who's comparing notes. And so O has definitely an uphill battle for him. And I'm so interested to see what's going to happen. And last point to the Lindsay thing of why I don't think that Lindsay has the quote unquote Erica edit is because Erica was like, she kind of almost was treated like a Romeo, like nobody really wanted to work with her. She kind of sort of had to pick up the pieces. And I feel like Lindsay has been very on the right side of the vote. And she has demonstrated to us, the viewers, and to the people out there that she is a beast. Dare I say, like the strongest possibly woman out there. She's given Jonathan a run for her money. So I think that also illuminates her as a challenge beast, which also puts a huge target on her back. So I definitely think Lindsay has a shot of winning, but it definitely won't be the same type of style of Erica because Lindsay is very much in the forefront.
Right. You can hear me, correct?
Yes.
Okay. My camera has frozen, and so that I hope you don't mind that as long as you can hear me okay, if you aren't able to see me cracking up and laughing as you're talking.
No, I did think you were. I was like, oh, Rob is. I was saying to myself, I must be saying some really good stuff because Rob is intensely
intently listening. Yes, and I am, but I've been having some computer issues, and so my camera has locked up. But let's keep going. Brice, yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying here about these different players in the game. As far as Marianne is concerned, yeah, I don't think that she is really having so much like the Erica edit, but I think it's that she's playing a close game to where Erica is at. Just the difference here is that Marianne has just been so great with the camera. That Marianne has is such this amazing personality, like this bright shining light. We're just seeing so much of Marianne, and I've really warmed up to the idea in the last couple of days of that. I still think it's Omer's game to lose. And I think Lindsay is the second best, but I think that if I had to, I'm thinking that I have Marianne now as the third most likely person to win the season.
I agree. My order will be a little different. I think it's O's game to lose.
Yes.
I also think Mike Turner. In my opinion, it could be second, and then it would be Marianne for me because I think that people are forgetting. Mike is a straight shooter. Now if you make Mikey mad, he won't come after you. But You know that. We know that
That's right.
that is
Likey,
his.
no likey.
Okay, Mikey, no likey. But you can't get mad at that if you know that's how that person is. And I think that Mike is one of the older guys on the cast, and he's been able to keep up. He's been able to make personal relationships with people. He look you in the eye and he say he with you. And it surprised me this episode when they made that final 5 alliance, and Mike was like, "Put it in there, guys. I'm with you." And, then him and Omer were walking away, and, he was saying to like, I hope I didn't, speak too much for you. And I'm thinking like, he's thinking like, I hope I did not commit you into this alliance. And then when Mike said, yeah, because it's Drea, I said, oh my God. And for me, and I don't know where I have been. Maybe I've just been cracking up at Mike so much, but I thought that was a very strong move for Mike. And, when I get on my Indeed.com and I am updating these resumes, that's a very huge move, could be $1 million move. I also think that one of the challenges, because, since I've been doing Survivor News with Wendell and Jack Atkins, I always love the game of Survivor. And I always just love to watch it and see what happens. But being talking with Jack and Wendell every week, and Jack Atkins from the Circle is such a talented and smart and a strategy driven player that I really try to watch a lot more intensely, because I want to make sure that I can keep up with the baby boys over there on the Purple Pants Podcast, Survivor News. But there is something to be said that when Mike got high out, and then Omer or Romeo or whoever said it, they was like, Mike is turning in to the high, like the thing that he did not like about the high.
Yes. Okay. Yes. It's Omer.
He's feeling high after high, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. He's high after high.
Yes. And that made me think of what an interesting point to Survivor future players, when, and even in life, you see somebody that you don't like at work, or you like, oh my God, I can't stand Belinda. I can't stand Mike at the job. He don't never do it right. I would and it's like, okay, you target that person, but then you also in the back of your mind have to think, if I get him out, does that illuminate my light even more? And I even bring this equation to Lindsay and Jonathan. Lindsay is trying so hard to win these challenges to get Jonathan out. And if I were out there, I'm going to just put myself in Romeo's shoes, sitting by the fire, eating the rice, okay? And we're going to get to that too, okay? We are going to address that as well. But let me just get back to my point. If I am Romeo sitting, eating the rice, and I'm looking at Lindsay, and, they're trying so hard to get Jonathan out, is that actually the best move for you, Lindsay? Because if you get Jonathan out, and the next 2 or 3 challenges, or you win 2 of the 3 challenges, girl, that's going to very much so illuminate your light. So it's like the person that you are targeting the most, I find, it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy that if I get you out, then all of a sudden the things that you were doing, is it that I don't like it because you're doing it and I'm not doing it? And dare I say, now I'm rambling and I'm about to go to another random point, but listen,
you're doing great.
If you listen to the Purple Pants Podcast, I just go on points. For me, growing up in high school, or just growing up in general, people like my best of friends, I've got friends of 20 years, 10 years. My always first reaction to them, one of my best friends, her name is Dara. We were in high school, we shared a locker, but I remember the first day of school, I saw her and I was just like, oh my God, I had such a strong reaction. And then I dropped a pencil and she didn't pick it up. And I was like, oh, I don't like her. She ain't helped me get my pencil. But over time became my best friend. And I say that to say, it just makes me think when you're in the game of Survivor, and especially when the numbers are dwindling down, and it's that person that you like, oh, we got to get high out. We got to get high out. I just wonder if the better approach Mike could have took was you know what? Maybe I need to work more closely with the person that I despise the most, because again, if I get you out, it's going to illuminate my light so much more. And here we are with Omer saying, he high off a high. And what happens with high off a high? Mike talking about cutting the snake head. Well, baby, I hope the snake head cutter isn't rolling on the floor, Mike.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot to unpack there. Mike did get like very extra. I did think after High was gone.
Wait, can you hear it? Can you hear that? You know what that is? That's High's head rolling down the road because we lopped his head off just like he deserved.
Oh my God.
But you gotta admit, you just gotta love a Mike Turner. I mean, that's a lot, and that's awfully confident. I think there is a delicate dance in Survivor that clearly I do not know the dance to, but you got to make the big moves, but then you got to come back and not like be boastful about it. But then,
right.
How can you not be boastful about it if you pulled off a big move? It's a delicate cha-cha. It's a delicate, electric slide. And It's like, slide to the left, but sometimes you slide to the right. So, it's just interesting.
Yeah, that's all really great stuff. I've been saying so much this season that I feel like that Omer's game to me has been so interesting because that you and I have been talking for years about my Indeed.com, got to get on my resume, going back to, millennials versus Gen X and Will Wall and what's on the resume, where Omer, I think that why his game has been so brilliant this season is that he's not really, if anything, he doesn't want the credit. He's like, he's making moves and like, oh, this was High's move. This is Mike's move. He's like making sure like, oh, can you believe what this person's doing now? Can you believe it? But it's his moves. He's the one who's actually pulling these moves off where that as you say, when somebody they take the person out, they're sort of seen as the new that person. And that's why, we have to get this person out now because they are doing the same things that caused the last person to go out. And Omer has done such a great job. And so in a lot of ways, I really hope he does win the season because I think that he has like the most interesting gameplay in terms of this idea of trying not to get any of the credit until can he flip it around at the end?
So yes. And listen, let me just be clear. I love O. I love O. I am rooting for O. However,
love the O.
Well, I mean, I love Romeo and I love O. Okay, just don't tell them I said that. But I love them both. I love them all. First of all, just love everybody. Well, actually, I take that back. I don't love everybody on the season, but I think the cast is great. I think because I am an administrator over there at Indeed.com, and I think this is a new caveat.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
You listen. I'm busy. I'm multifaceted, Robert.
Yes.
This is a new caveat that I think that I'm going to have to enter in the Indeed resume portion. Is that it's not a matter of if O can get to the end. I am sure if he can tell that story of all the things that he has done. What makes me so worrisome for my baby boy that is O is that if y'all on the D.com, your people that's just getting out of college, or you can still be in high school, and you're doing all of this stuff, and say I am adding to my resume, and my resume is long. Okay, like, yes, I'm gonna get this job. Listen, I did this. Okay, I used to do this. I did that. I did this. And then you go for a job. And if you ever gone for a job and they say, you know what? Why do you want this job? You are overqualified. I think O might be, dare I say, overqualified to win. And
what?
Yes, because listen, Robert, the jury. What you think the jury is doing in Ponderosa besides drinking and sleeping? They're going to be talking. And I feel like the consensus might come that like, wait, he did that. He did this. He did that. I don't know what opinion that might give the jury. That might reflect negatively on O. When he is actually describing these moves, people might feel like he's double-crossed them. And I don't know what it is like out there for them or what O gives in person. But for me watching it, it's like he's like, Mr. Jekyll, Dr. Hyde, like he's like very like meek, going with the flow. He's able to change it very subtly. But then in the confessionals, we get spicy Bricey. We get spicy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he is like laying it down. And I don't know if they see that. And again, when they're on the jury and they're able to talk and then they start comparing notes, I am just worried that when notes are compared, and we only got 2 more episodes, that it could negatively affect him winning. And dare I say, like, they could possibly take him out. But I love it and I don't want it to happen. But at the same time, I'm so in love with how O is playing. It makes me think like, oh my God, what could happen? Who could do this? Who could do that? I'm like, oh, wait, you're playing too good of a game. Like, so I just, the way my heart is beating right now is how I am when I'm watching Survivor. And I just don't know. I think that he might be, it's too much on. Like, listen, you got your PhD. Why do you want to come put my socks on? Because, I'm looking for somebody to put my socks. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have a job out for somebody to put my socks on. And here is this person that has their PhD. They run their own. Like, I would be like, sir, why do you want to come put my socks on? Like, so I just think that he might really be too good at what he's doing. But I love to see it. Robert. Ooh, child. So Rob just texted me. He said the power went out, but listen, we can keep it going. I've got more to say. Another person that for me, for a lot of different reasons, who I know is not going to win. And I have changed my opinion on this. Like early on, y'all know I was the ladder. I was the boat. And I was like, oh my God, if Jonathan gets to the end, he gonna win. But I think that after us seeing a lot of Jonathan and how he talks to certain type of people on the tribe, I think that I don't know if he actually could win. And again, like I was saying earlier, connect yourself closer to the person that you like despise the most. And if I were out there, I would be teaming up with a Jonathan. Because listen, win your way to the end, baby boy. Let me make you think that you could beat me, because clearly he think he can win. Clearly, I don't know what his perception is. But I would want to go with him because I honestly don't think he could win. And I just count the vote. Like, I mean, he'll probably get Roxroy's vote because Roxroy's like, you gonna vote for me, Roxroy? Yes. Roxroy, he don't say too much, but we love him. But I question if it is a Jonathan, Marianne, or Lindsay, a Jonathan, a Romeo, and a O, a Jonathan, a Romeo, and a Mike. Like there aren't many situations that I see a Jonathan winning. So I was very early on thinking like, you know what? Y'all got to get Jonathan out. Y'all got to get Jonathan out. He's too powerful. But the more we get to watch, okay, and we watching and we see, but we won't go there today. I think I've changed my position on him. And actually, if I were out there, I would want to go to the end with him because, again, tell me, I'm trying to think in my head, what is there a scenario that Jonathan will win? I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. Listeners, let me know. Tweet me, because I think that is an interesting thing. And what I was saying earlier is like Lindsay and all of them and Drea at the time, they all wanted to get him out. But again, I would have thought that Lindsay, your best bet might be your best bet to the million, Lindsay, is you, Romeo, and Jonathan. And that could work so well for Lindsay because Romeo is a free agent. Romeo is right now sitting over there eating rice. Okay? You could just literally say Romeo and he going like he's down. So listen, if I'm out there, I'm going to get me a Lindsay. Well, I mean, I'm Lindsay, so I wouldn't get me a Lindsay. I couldn't get myself. But if I'm Lindsay, I'm teaming up with Romeo. Okay? I'm teaming up with Jonathan. And I mean, the only caveat to that is Lindsay might have to get Romeo to talk to Jonathan because it doesn't seem that Jonathan perceives information from women that well. So she might have to, get Romeo to get Jonathan and say, listen, this final 3 right here. And clearly Jonathan thinks that he can beat a Lindsay and Jonathan thinks that he could beat a Romeo, which debatable. And they could go to the end. And in that situation, Lindsay would win. There's no doubt in my mind that Lindsay would win because you look at who is on the jury and Chanel, Drea. Well, Drea might vote for, well, hard to say because Drea might vote for Jonathan, but I don't know. But then we see this interaction with Drea before she went out with the net. And, Jonathan's like, I burn 75,000 calories a day. And my job to come out here was to be the provider and to be seen and, to get the same portion as everybody else. But I deserve more because I eat 75,000 calories a day and I deserve to eat more. But dare I say, okay, well, if you burning 2,000 calories just sitting there and, hey, I only might burn 7,000 calories, am I not still hungry? Like, and first of all, what diet is that you could just lay around and burn that many calories? Because I like to do it again, okay? Because listen, the way my diet been set up, child, I eat one potato chip and I blow up 30 plus pounds. But again, thinking of Jonathan and why, if I were out there, I would try to align myself with him because, again, that net fishing thing, and we as the viewers get to see his idea of like his game and just talking like essentially basically saying he deserves more rice and he shouldn't get more rice. But I'm hungry too. Okay, I might only burn 6 calories to your 70,000, but I burn it. But then you say your game is to be the provider, but you can't be the provider and then want the credit. Okay, first of all, you know what? I need to update Indeed right now. Ungrateful. Boom. Oh, Rob is back. Hey, sorry. Rob.
You did the whole podcast without me?
I just kept going, Rob. This is how exciting the season gets me, honestly. And most of the time, this is just me talking to myself at home, watching the computer or the TV, just thinking about what happened. But I was saying to the audience and myself was,
what a pro. What a natural.
I was excited. I was
just going to cut that whole part out of the podcast.
No, keep it.
Keep it. Okay.
What I was saying is that, to my point of, I was talking a little bit about Jonathan, and I was explaining that my take on Jonathan at first was, I was the ladder, I was the boat.
I remember.
I am no longer. But
yeah.
As a viewer, I was like, oh, he gotta go. Why would they keep him? They not playing the game right. The second y'all get him, the second you make the merch, he needs to go. But thinking about it, and the more we get to see of Jonathan, and he reveals a lot about himself. Okay, us as the audience, we see there's a lot about the Jonathan. I realized that in actuality, if I was out there, I would want to work with him because in what end does Jonathan win? If it's Romeo, Lindsay, and Mike, it's not Jonathan. If it's Jonathan, Omar, and Marianne, it's not Jonathan. If it's Jonathan, Romeo, and Marianne, I mean, that actually could, like, I don't see him winning. So I just take the standpoint of I might actually work closer with him because I don't like, yeah, you're going to get to the end. Sure. Why try to beat the unbeatable challenge maker? And instead, I would boost his confidence up because I don't think that he has now I always say this wrong on the podcast, but listen, the know-it-all to know how he is coming off. And it just brought me to that net situation where, he is essentially telling the audience that he deserves more rice because he burns more calories. But you can burn 157 calories and I can burn 2. Bitch, I'm still hungry. Like, I'm still going to be hungry. And yeah, I came out here to be the provider. I just like a little credit.
Yeah. He wants people to be appreciating him a little bit more.
I could use a thank you. The provider is supposed to get props. I want to be a little more appreciated because if it's not seen, then it's not working.
So, and I hear what he's saying of like, hey, I'm being the provider, so I'd like to be appreciated, but and he also says, well, then it's not working. And I get that too, because I feel like that there are times in like my real life where it's like, I'm doing something for, in the house. And I'm like, boy, like why aren't I getting the credit for this? Like, but it means that what you're doing like isn't effective. Like you might want to be appreciated, but it doesn't mean that the person who is like, it's still on you to change. Like obviously, like what you're doing isn't it's what you wanted to do, but it's not necessarily what the other people like are looking for. In terms of like, you can't blame the recipient of the message on that, like that it's not being received the way you want it to be received.
It's like the holiday times. You don't give a gift to get a gift. If you want it to be
or to get a reaction,
or to get a reaction, like, and I think, and I wish Jonathan, well, I wish a lot for him, but I wish that he could see that actually that's a good thing, baby boy. If they go around, first of all, they know that you're the provider. Like they know. But if everyone was just going around like, oh, King Jonathan, oh my God, thank you so much for waking up. Oh my God, thank you so much for getting the fish. Oh my God, thank you so much. Oh, you don't think that then people would be like, that would put an even larger target on yourself.
It's only because of this that he's still there.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like you should want to be underappreciated. You should humble yourself a little bit more, and you should know that actually I'm doing all of this stuff, and I'm glad that actually nobody is really acknowledging it. I know it might be hard to not say that, but you also have to remember I'm out here playing for $1 million. And when you get to the end, that's when you lay it on. That's when you be like, I got up every day. I did this, and I didn't ask for it. I didn't even get a thank you, but I still did it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't even know how to flip it, baby boy.
Yeah. And it is interesting that we had the scene with Romeo and Jonathan this week, because it's like, they're sort of like on opposite ends of the spectrum, but their position ultimately is not dissimilar, where that I feel like that those are probably the two people at the end of the game that any of the other four people and five, if you would have counted Drea, who was in the game at that time, could have beaten, where that, it's sort of like, okay, Romeo's person, he's not doing anything. Everybody's like, looking down at him. Jonathan is doing everything, but he's still not part of like the strategic maneuvering of the rest of the people, where, he still might get a Roxroy, maybe Mike at the end of the game, but I don't think that Jonathan can win the game either.
Right. I completely agree. And yeah, to that point though, off topic a little bit, I want to get to the Romeo and the Rice.
Please.
First of all, I was doing the same thing with Cagayan. Okay, listen, I was so, and again, I'm kind of somewhat on Romeo's side with this. So I'm not in your alliance. Y'all say that all I do is sit by the fire, but when I'm sitting by the fire, think about that. What y'all doing? Y'all off talking. So y'all not including me in the conversation, and you think I'm gonna just sit at camp and be like, "Ooh, it's a little rice left. Let me save it for Jonathan because he burned 37,000 calories just waking up. I'm gonna nibble on it." And listen, I ain't mad at that. And you're hungry out there, and I'm sure the montage was just cracked me up. There's just like Mike was like, all he does is and then all of the footage that they got of him. But I am pretty sure I was only on Cagayan for 8 to 11 days. If you walk by that pot of rice, okay, and everybody out swimming or doing something, and you see a little piece of rice, and y'all like, would you grab a little piece of rice, Robert?
Sure. Yeah. It's like what it was like the turkey after Thanksgiving is just like on the counter. Like, all right, let me walk past it. Let me take it again. Like, and again, they talked about it like Romeo, he's always eating the scraps. Well, what are scraps? Like, what are you going to do with it? Like, is it for the flies? And then it's the empty pot that nobody else is there. Right.
Right. Actually, Romeo is doing y'all a favor. He keeping the flies out, but y'all ungrateful. Y'all don't want to say thank you.
Yeah. He could use a little more appreciation of what he's doing.
Okay. So yeah, but I'm not mad at that. And I just feel like Romeo is damned if he do, damned if he don't. And I even say to bring me back to Cagayan. Like, look at Morgan. Morgan ain't do she ain't really do a lot around camp, but look how far she made it. So
Yeah.
that could be his gameplay. Like, you know what? Let me just sit here and eat this rice.
Yeah. And I wonder, is it even more layered than that? Like, is it possible that maybe even when we do talk to these players at the end of the season that, we find out an Omer said to Romeo, hey, just sit there, look like you're going home. You're not going home. You're going to be fine, but you need to play the part because we're going to tell people it's going to be you. It's not going to be you.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And again, that for me, relatively is winning. If I know I'm not going to win, my point is I'm gonna do what I need to do to get us farther in the game as I can. And you see these big Goliath people. I'm sure Romeo knows enough about Survivor that they're not going to want to go with them. So why exert all of my energy and do all of this if I know that I am possibly going to be brought to the end?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily mad at that tactic. Listen, take me as far as I can get. Let me get as many commas in my check. And again, that's a win in my book. I mean, I know it's you go on Survivor to win, but only one person wins. So, I mean, another tactic is to get as far as you can go, and that's a win. And maybe this is a strategic sitting down and eating the rice, a strategic doing nothing. And also, petty Brice, I put myself out there. Y'all not talking to me. Y'all ain't. So what? So what do you want me to do? You want me to be running around camp doing all of this stuff, and y'all not y'all got to pick a side here. Because if you're working with Romeo, then it's one thing. Then it's come on, bro, pull your weight around camp. But you're not working with him. He's the decoy name every day. What else do you expect?
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Brice, let's talk a little bit about Drea, who, had this big exit. We haven't really talked about her at all yet. I would just love to get your thoughts on Drea, just as we look back at her run in season 42.
I loved Drea's gameplay. I think that here, what I find so interesting is when I was rewatching some of the episodes, tell me a time this season you've seen Drea. Well, two things. When Mike alluded to the fact that everybody loves Drea, it's she could win. At first, I didn't necessarily see it. I was just you know what? I was I know she has the amulet. She got everything. She got everything. You need it, she got it. So I knew that, but I didn't necessarily think that it translated to her being such a huge target. And then when Mike said it, I went back and watched some of the old episodes, and what I was astounded by was the fact that tell me a time this season we've seen Drea not vote right. Tell me a time we've seen her scramble. We've never seen her scramble at all. There was never a time that she went into tribal uncomfortable, except when she was in an uncomfortable tribal. But I'm just saying, and I was wow, I did not pay attention to that. And again, what I love so much about these new seasons is it makes me such a more astute watcher of the game. I'm on a new level of I'm already a people watcher, but now it's I actually need to watch the episode, and then I need to watch the episode because I did not pay attention to how she literally was the nucleus, and I was questioning her gameplay at first because first she was close with Romeo, then she dropped him. Then she was with Roxroy at first. Then Tori came over. She was right, I was oh, she's switching up. Then she got to the merge. Then she was with High, and I was just oh, I don't know if I like this style of game. But I also said to myself, well, is is this the new style of the game? Like, you gotta, after each tribal, we wash our hands and we work with whoever we can work with. But she really has been a nucleus. She's been a strong player. She's been a competitor. She really played a great game, and I definitely have to tip my hat off to her. I think for me, what was so interesting was, after, spoiler alert, y'all should know, but when she got voted out, and her and
Sorry if we spoiled
Sorry.
Drea being voted out of the episode for anybody
my bad,
who's an hour into our podcast.
when we got to see that interaction with her and Mike at the end,
Yeah.
and at first I was a little mad because I was like, oh my God, like, look at this personality. Like, she, like, you know, what she's saying to everybody. I'm like, look at this personality. Look, like, I love it. And then it made, I was mad at first, like, well, why didn't we get to see this? Like, why didn't we see any of this Drea the whole season? And I then took a step back and I was like, wow, what if she was that locked into the game, that she was that locked into the game, that the Drea that we saw none of her real personality. Like, we just saw Drea the player. And when I think about that, I'm like, that's scary. That's a strong player. And thinking of all of this, you know, Tuesday morning quarterbacking, I'm like, I get what Mike is saying. She really would have been the one to beat, because then you think about, like, let's say the number, say Romeo went home. Drea, Mike. That like, who gets that? Lindsay, Drea, Jonathan. Omer, Jonathan, Drea. Like, she is she would have been a contender. So I am not mad at that. And I would think that if I ever were to make it that far in the game and I had all of these toys, weapons, you know, everything, that's the only way you can go out. That, like, I can't be mad at that. Now, I got a question for you, Rob.
Yes.
Have we in Survivor ever seen... So I know that a lot of these amulets are new and different stuff is new, but, like, you know, when Stephen Fishbach had that steal a vote.
Yes.
At the time, him having that was like Drea having all of these things. It was like really like a big thing. And whenever you have this like new powerful thing in Survivor, do you find that it puts more of a target on your back than it actually is helpful? Because it's like, to actually be able to execute that, have we ever seen someone really execute that has that much power? I find that more times or not, you get taken out because of it.
Yeah, I don't think that Drea had a target on her back like when Steven had that specific power, just because that in the way that Steven got that power, it was that he was in the middle of a challenge. He jumped off of a platform and got it in front of everybody. And he had a secret power and nobody knew exactly what it was. And he has said many times that he wishes he would have gotten that power and played it immediately. Drea, I believe, was, you know, a big target in the game, not even because of like all of the different things that she had in the game, because we see other people in the game. Marianne, you know, she has an idol, but they don't know about that. If she does have an extra vote, like Drea, Mike has had an idol. It doesn't seem like that players are necessarily targeted as much just because they have the power. I think that the pressure comes from, and I asked Drea about this, I think is like of having all this stuff is like almost like from internal of like, okay, you know, what do I do? Because now you have so many more options. I think that there could be some sort of like a paralysis of like, okay, do I play my extra vote? What if I steal, you know, what if I, you know, what if we steal a vote tonight? What if we do X, Y, Z? And I think that might have been where things were harder for her. I do think that where the target came from for her, and I asked her about this in the exit interview, was she talked about how, you know, after the night that her and Marianne made the stand at Tribal Council, she said she knew that night that she could not win the game then, that nobody was going to let her get to the end at that point because of she had that story at that point. And it had reminded me of Zeke back in Survivor Game Changers, where, you know, after the tribal council, where Jeff Varner, goes to, tries to, basically out Zeke in front of everybody. And Zeke has like a really, emotional, and everybody comes together. But Zeke has said also that he knew he could not win. Nobody would let him get to the end after that, he had that moment in front of everybody. Everybody felt like, okay, now he has like too good of a story to get to the end. And Andrea said she knew that night, and it just, I think, it made it even more significant that she knew that, okay, I'm doing this, but I'm also, she's like sacrificed her game that night also.
Yeah, and 1,000%. I just thinking back to that and even hearing that just frustrates me even more. To just a lot of the comments of that episode, and like, them both playing their idol basically to be like that we're using our idol so that like y'all people that don't get it out there can't say that we like weaponized race when we're just talking about our own individual experiences. And again, like, look how powerful that is in that moment where you're playing for $1 million and you have to speak up and you have to use your voice. And she knew using her voice was going to lose her $1 million, but she still chose to speak up. Like, it's that complex dilemma that at times frustrates me because people don't get it. And I'm not saying that people don't get it, because there are a lot of people that do get it, but when you see the other people that don't get it, and just hearing that story of she sunk her own ship essentially to stand up for what was morally right. And we still have people out there, but we won't focus on that. But yeah, it just is it's a story. I feel like a lot of people of color, a lot of that I know all too well. But at the end of the day, Drea played a great game. And the point that I was making, that you hit it, the nail on the head, is it's not like when I said the target, like you got all of that stuff that you become a target, you become like a target within yourself. Like, you're right. Like, it's like, when do I use it? How do I use it? And then more times than not, you kind of fumble the ball. I would personally think that Drea's mistake this episode was telling O.
Yeah.
Like, knowledge is power. Okay, girl, listen to what the advantage is. Knowledge is power. And yeah, I also think that on the Purple Pants podcast, I was saying that it has to be so hard for Drea out there. You've got the amulet, you got the extra vote, you got 2 shoes, you got and then you get the knowledge is power. I can only imagine, like, for me, I might go to McDonald's and get some fries, and in my head I'm like, "Ooh, I got fries. I gotta call somebody, like, "Ooh, I just got fries." So I can't imagine having all of that stuff.
You never call me and tell me about the fries.
I'm gonna start calling you and telling you when I get fries. Or just in my mind, it could be anything. Like, was going to record with you today. I was so excited, and my mom called me today. She was like, "What you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm going to record RHAP." Like, I just I feel an innate sense to tell people things.
Yeah.
And so I can't imagine being out there having all that information. Like, I would be like, my head would be like, ah. But you can't do it. You can't. And so I was mad, like, why are you telling all that? But I get it from just knowing how I work. You got to tell somebody. You're out there. But again, kudos to O for executing and making a move like that, because that was a very powerful move. And the Indeed.com is updating the ever so long resume of the baby boy that is the Omer.
Yeah. So I talked about this. I had Ricard on the podcast this week, and we were talking about this. And Ricard brought up a good point of that. He said, I don't blame Drea for telling Omer about what's going on, because when you are making a big move such as that, would be kind of a jerk thing to do, to not tell your close allies of, hey, just so you know, this is what I'm about to do. This, big move. You're going to be surprised, but wait till you see what I'm going to do. I'm going to take Mike's idol at the tribal council. Like, because you would think if this was your close ally and Drea did that, like, oh, You didn't tell me you had this power. You didn't tell me you were going to do that. Like, I think you would feel some type of way about that. No?
Would you feel more some type of way if your closest ally stabs you in the back?
Well, yeah, and you lose. But you can understand why she would like. I think that for her, like that was not even a realm of possibility that Omer would. That speaks to how good of a game he's playing. That he would go against her, but I think that there is like, it wasn't like when she told Tori and Swathi about, hey, I have an extra vote, and that was more kind of like you didn't have to tell them that. That it's this late in the game. You don't know who else has what other kind of powers. Like, you can see why she would do that, even though it was the wrong move.
Yes. Yeah, I'm a disagree. But I mean, I think that to the future Survivor players out there, don't
do it. Don't do it.
It
was the wrong thing to do. Just in terms of like why she did it. Yeah. It makes some sense.
In that situation, because it is so new to them, I would have been like, oh my God, Rob, I'm sorry I didn't tell you. It actually said I can't tell anybody or it's null and void.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But again, it's just like, it goes to show you that you got to remember, you're playing a game of one, but you also at the same time have to manage jury votes and keep alliances and keep strong. But yeah, I wouldn't have told the baby boy that is he knows everything. And again,
like
Jeff. Okay.
Yeah. Jeff told us he knows everything.
And I can verify they can't lie because I know who has what.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, Mr. Jeffrey. Another reason why I fear for my baby boy that is the O is that now you just did that to Drea. And of course, like, she went out like a queen and she let Omar know what she thought. But now she on a jury. And you don't know, like, so
that's interesting about Drea and Hai are both on the jury. And when I talked to Hai 2 weeks ago, he told me that he said, my closest alliance was me, Drea, and Omer. And I said, that wasn't even on the show. And then this week we see Drea, working very closely with Omer, who we really have never seen them have a conversation before in the entire show before. It's like, I guess this was a thing. And Drea confirmed it. And she was feeling really good about working with Hai and Omer. Up until the point where she felt like that she couldn't beat Hai at the end. She felt like that he was the person that would be the toughest to beat. But now I wonder when Drea and Hai sit together at the jury, are they talking about, you know what? I think Omer did me dirty.
That is the downside to the amazing game that O is playing. When those notes start to get compared, it's hard to know how the jury will receive it. Will they respect it or will they be like spiteful? And hard to know. So, I mean, that is, again, that's the Indeed.com. That resume is long. And when it is so long, a lot of people will have things to say. But again, kudos to O, because it's like, he know who to get out. He knows, like, he's playing a great game. But like, dare I say, one of the best behind the scenes game I've seen in a while.
Yeah, I think that they will take it well. I think in the same spirit that Drea went out of the game. I mean, this is what Jeff had to say about that.
Never seen a moment like this. Drea.
I mean, that he went on and to go say. Actually, this is the right clip.
I gotta say, just as a viewer, I can't think of a season where I've ever seen this much fierce gameplay and camaraderie. This is the ideal way, in my mind, for Survivor to be played, because it is just a game, and it is just an adventure, and it's an experience with people that you're going to know forever. I thought it was awesome. It'd
be weird to go from that to like super bitter jury.
That first night in Ponderosa, when you wake up and you realize you're not on the island, I mean, and again, it could not be bitter, but again, who is O sitting next to? And is it bitter to say is it bitter to like to be rational in your head? Like, okay, well, Joe did me wrong. Marianne had a good, Lindsay had a good game. Like, I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to be bitter. It could be the deciding decision as to why they go with someone else and not you. So maybe you're right. I shouldn't say bitter, but again, and there's multiple people that have had that same type of feeling, it just makes it a little more difficult for them to get a vote, possibly. Or they could just say, you got me good, I'm giving you a vote.
Yeah. Did you like Drea's exit from the game, the way that she went out and had like a special message for everybody?
Yes. Yes, I thought that was great. Reminded me, I thought it was great. I was cracking up at Mike though. You put a vote up and did you write my name?
You put 2 on me. You put 2 on me.
Here's the thing. I love that moment, and I love that we got to see that. But a little piece of me, I feel like Mike was serious for 2 seconds because Mike don't play when you write his name down.
Yeah, he doesn't like it.
He does not like it.
Ask Chanel.
Yeah, okay. He don't like it. Mikey, no like it.
Mikey, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Mikey, really, Mikey does not like that.
No.
It's my Mikey, no likey.
Mikey, no likey.
But I thought it was great to have a personal message, and essentially like everyone being like, we got her out because she was going to win. However, I think had it been me, CBS would have had to have a lot of beep because I'd have been like, first of all, like, okay,
Yeah,
I would have let them know.
Yeah, and Andrea, you got a sense that she's cool with everybody here, except Jonathan.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I possibly. Wait, because mind you, I was screaming. How was her exit with Jonathan? Because I can't really necessarily.
So she said to everybody, she's like, she said to the whole crew, Marianne, keep being you. You're the only one I told. Lindsay, I'm rooting for you. You know why? She said, Romeo, you were on the block every single time. She said, Jonathan, I was never coming for you. You were always coming for. I was never coming for you.
And Jonathan said, he's like, finally, somebody appreciates me.
Yeah. But Drea also had an interesting moment at the tribal council before she got voted off. I want to get your reaction to this. Was interesting. Okay, they're talking about Drea and how she plays the game.
How do you react in the moment?
I see who he's looking at and I observe, just like I see when Jonathan gets up and tries to talk to numerous people throughout the day, and I observe, and I see when numerous people go to a water well and they come back and their canteens are still empty. I observe. When they go for wood, but there's no wood in there. I observe.
Homer, it was almost getting like a horror movie.
Yes, Brice, would you go see The Observer?
I might. But here's the thing, though. She ain't observed Romeo with the rice.
I don't think she cared about that.
But
not too much.
That does crack me up, though. How you go into the water well to get water?
Well, it was funny, and you talked about this where Omer is like, he's like, I think I should pray. She's like, yes, you should pray. You need to pray. And then he gets up. He's like, wait, hold on, he's up praying already? Then you're gonna keep praying more. It was almost like that. I think that she was trying to do where I think she saw like the writing on the wall. And I think she was trying to do like sort of like the Boston Rob, like, all right, everybody just sit here all day today. Like, Omer, come on, let's get some more prayers going today. Mike, it wouldn't hurt you to sit and pray for a little bit also.
Omer said, I pray.
Everybody, be like Romeo. Can you just sit in this spot all day?
Okay. I was cracking up at that. When Omer went down to pray, and then Mike, he got right up, and Dre was like, he said, I prayed. I prayed.
Trust me, we're good. It was the short version today.
That's the short version.
2X, yeah.
Okay, he understand. But yeah, no, that was funny. And I just it's like the little things in the edit that crack me up when that happened. And then Dre is basically saying, like, I see everyone walking off. And then of course you see like Lindsay and like I just love the little montages of things like that. And Lindsay and Jonathan could have been walking off hours ago, but of course they just like place it in there. It's funny.
Yeah. Now, do you think, okay, so Drea, her plan was, okay, I'm going to steal Mike's idol here at this final 7. And then she wanted to vote Mike out without his idol. So do you think that Drea would have played Mike's idol for herself here at this final 7 tribal council? Because that another thing that could have happened is she steals Mike's idol at that tribal council. And if she doesn't play it, she also could have been voted out of the game with Mike's idol and all those advantages in her pocket. Well, do you think she would have stolen Mike's idol and played it? Because I don't think she thought, or maybe she did. She did seem pretty sus about things.
Yeah, I would have hoped that she would have, because doesn't she have another idol, or she does not?
So she does not, because Lindsay is still in the game. Okay. Lindsay got an idol because Drea got voted out of the game. So Lindsay was like incentivized to like turn the vote against Drea at that point, because she's going to have the idol now at this point in the game. But it still would have only been a vote steal for Drea.
Yeah, if I'm Drea at this point, we're down to the last couple of days. Make it to the end. Like, boom, I would have played that idol. Hopefully I could win immunity, or I can, yeah. So I think that the smart thing would be to play it. Absolutely. Take it and use it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wish I would have asked her that in the exit interview. I've been, upset with myself for the last couple of days that I didn't ask her that question.
I'll ask her on the Purple Pants podcast.
Please, yes, please. We'll ask. Find out the answer to that for me. One other thing, or a couple other things with Drea. Drea didn't play in the Do or Die this week, and she talked about how there was a reason why she didn't play in the Do or Die.
I had my husband's voice in my head, like, you suck at endurance, especially like my feet. I was like,
Why is Drea's husband so rude? Why does he tell her that you suck at endurance, especially with your feet?
Not your feet.
Yeah.
Sometimes the closest.
Not okay.
I mean, sometimes the closest people got to keep it real with you. Okay.
You suck. Yeah. My husband tells me you suck at endurance. Okay. And then also tell me about what was this story that Drea starts telling here in the episode?
I was in St. Martin, and I went to take pictures of a friend. She's like, come take pictures of me in my swimsuit. And she has very like long swimsuits and stuff like that. And it's like a wedding. And I was just like, you go, girl. Like, they're like taking the pictures. Like, okay.
Right. So you have Drea out there working on the new Hot Girl Summer calendar.
I'm the friend that she took the photo of. I was in the
the thong bathing suits.
Yes. I'm trying to get ready for my summer 2-piece. Okay. I don't know why she told that story. Drea, it was a secret. Yeah. You got to start early. Okay. So who knows, the Hot Girl calendar might be coming back. But I was like, where? What?
I don't know. And then the next thing that we got was Marianne's story, which was not like in any way connected to that story. I don't know if they were sort of like happening at the same time, but then we start talking about Marianne's toes.
It's fine. I actually use my pinky toes pretty often.
What?
Oh yeah.
Just so small.
No. It's not normal to lose your toenails like that. I'm so confused.
No. They fall off like maybe like 2 or 3 times a year.
A year?
Yeah.
Marianne, girl. We might need to get you to a podiatrist. I mean, I have lost a toenail before.
Yeah.
But it was my big toenail. But
what happened?
I was like outside with flip-flops. And it was actually at my like 16th birthday party. It was like in the backyard. And was it my 16th birthday party? No, because it was the summer. So maybe it was a graduation party. So I used to always just beg my mom for me to have parties when I was a kid. And somebody was like coming to the house, and I ran and I opened the screen door and my foot hit it, and literally like the door shut and my toenail was like still at the bottom of the door. I was like, ah,
Yikes. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to bother Marianne.
Yeah, I mean, it happens twice a year.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's what's going on with Marianne's nails. And then we also heard in this episode,
Lindsay is tough as nails.
is that why she dropped out of the challenge?
Right. Is Jonathan doing promo for Tough as Nails?
Yeah. Tell Phil. That's good. Phil would be very excited to have Jonathan on Tough as Nails. That's for sure. He would be. He'd give him all the eggs, all the cheese he wants. He'd be. Okay. Brice, we haven't even gotten any questions yet.
Oh,
Questions for you.
okay.
Okay.
What?
All right. All right. Since we're talking about Marianne, okay, let me give you a question here from one of our listeners. And this is from one of our listeners whose name is
Patty!
Okay, here's Patty. Hold on. And on a day of lots of tech issues, I was going to reconnect to the internet. And let's hear from Patty.
Hi, Brice and Rob. This is Patty from Ottawa, Canada. I have a question for Brice. I love Marianne, just like you, Brice, and I like Jonathan a lot less. And I'm hoping you could give some scenarios or ideas of how Marianne takes Jonathan out of the game. I want to see this happen so, so badly. So how would it work that Marianne takes Jonathan out? What are your ideas? Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing everything with us, Brice. Sending you so much love. Thank you.
Oh, Patty.
Oh, come on, Patty!
Yeah.
Okay. One way Marianne could take him out is if there is a toenail contest. Okay. Marianne could pop him out. She lose 2 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know necessarily a scenario in which that. I mean, Marianne could win the next immunity if it's counting, reading, writing.
Yeah.
I'm sure, Jonathan won't be winning that immunity challenge. But again, I think that these next 2 episodes will be very interesting because she could be a part of the orchestra, the orchestra that takes him out. And like I was saying earlier, when Rob disappeared, and I was covering it, Lindsay's best move is to get with Romeo and Marianne. I feel like a Marianne, Romeo, Lindsay is I think something that Lindsay could buy into. And I think that if they can, with those 3, it seems that like O and Marianne are, well, first of all, O cool with everybody. So that could be a situation, but then I question because I think O is so good. I think that he might have the knowledge that Jonathan ain't going nowhere and he wants him there because he knows what will happen. I don't know. Maybe how Marianne takes him out is that maybe the takeout from Marianne is not to take him out, is to keep him in. And then the takeout is Marianne.
Yes.
The winner of somebody like that. That's the get you gotcha. That's how she gonna take him out if she can get with the right people. And again, maybe it's a Marianne, a Romeo, and a Jonathan. And that's how. And if that were to happen, first of all, you just know Jonathan would think that he won. Like he they're going to he going to think it, and that is how she going to get him out. That would happen.
He's already got like the egg truck scheduled to pull up to his house and then drop off 10,000 eggs the day after the episode. And then, hold on. Is it, you don't think that Marianne, actually, no, I'm sorry. They revealed the votes on the island. So he knew. He knew.
He knew.
Yeah, he knew. But yeah, I understand what Patty's saying. Boy, for television, wouldn't that be a great story where that, little Marianne takes out the Goliath in Jonathan? Would be great television, but I do think that Marianne probably needs Jonathan at the end as part of her equation to win this thing, because I think that the pair of Marianne and Romeo are available to whoever, if it's Lindsay or if it's Omer. If one of them wants to do that and go to the final three with them, that is on the table. That being said, I think it's good for Lindsay. I think Lindsay wins in that one. For Omer though, I feel like I don't love that as much for him.
Yeah, I think clearly O has an O on the game. He's in the O. And I think that he could or should or knows the package that Marianne is. So I don't think that in O's mind there is any way that he would want to sit next to a Marianne. I think his best bet would probably be Romeo, Mike, Romeo, Jonathan. I don't know I don't know the shake on a Lindsay, but I don't know if a Omer would want to sit with a Marianne. And again, I think that this next week's episode, like obviously the next two episodes are very crucial, but although I love Romeo, I honestly think like it's anybody's game, and I think that that's what makes this season or these seasons so interesting, because as a fan of the older seasons, and it's just like, oh, we know who's got, like, it's in my Destiny's Child's voice, the writing's on the wall. I think that it's so interesting and makes me so excited to watch next week's episode, and the following week's episode, but more so next week, because I think with next week, depending on how the pepper shakes out, it will really kind of like little pepper, how we sprinkle out, it will really define what's happening. Not the crunchy kind of but yeah, it really can define what's going to happen. So it's really anybody's game. Maybe less likely for Romeo, but I mean, Mike could pull a big move off. I mean, hell, Jonathan could do something.
Can Mike win? I've been out on Mike the last couple of weeks in terms of a winner.
I absolutely think so. I think that people underestimate his likability. I think they underestimate his a lot of Mike. I think Mike is a huge contender.
I think Mike can only win with Jonathan and Romeo.
But that's still a viable option right now, though.
Yeah, but I don't think Mike would even take Romeo to the end. He was so out on Romeo in this episode. The whole thing how many times did he say, and he just sits there all day? He's like, this is his move, and he eats, and he eats, and he eats. And he said it like 8 times.
Yeah. He was when Mikey no likey, when Mikey he said a lot. And maybe you're right. Maybe the scenario for Mike to win is Mike, Romeo, and Jonathan. And you're right. Mikey no likey Romeo, so he's not going to see that. And we know Jonathan is not going to he ain't going to be able to put that together or see that could be a thing. So you're right. Maybe that is the pairing. Mike will win, but I don't know if the pairing is going to pair.
Yeah. This was Mike on the Romeo thing.
Romeo, where art thou, Romeo? He's sitting in the same spot that he sat in 20 days ago. Hasn't moved.
You didn't like it.
He did not.
Yeah. And why is it so wrong for Romeo to be hungry and this monster?
A much more dangerous version of Survivor, where the monster is always starving.
The monster's always eating.
Right. Okay. They're not. Yeah. Why can a monster eat? How many calories a day does the monster burn just sitting?
Yeah. Brice, for Survivor 43, though, they're going to stop with the monster, right?
I would hope, because here's the thing. Who and what is the monster?
Yeah.
Is he saying like the monster lives within us? Like I don't that like what?
Well, lives within Jeff. I think Jeff is the monster. Yeah.
Well, he know, and he would be the one. He knows all.
Yeah, he knows all. He knows all. I mean, that basically that when he had to negotiate with the people, he was the one deciding, and he's like, well, next season the monster could be even more hungry. He's the monster.
Everyone on that Zoom call was like, oh, okay. It's going to be big, think big.
This is a Zoom call with like the executives of the network. Yeah.
And I just imagine like Jeff sitting on the chair and just like, bigger.
Like, okay.
Yeah, Jeff. Yeah.
We trust you.
Yes, you know what you're doing. Also, did we ever figure out to drop the 4, keep the 1?
I mean, they're saying basically it's like the new first season. Was that a mystery?
It got solved today for me.
Yes. You didn't know what that meant when they said drop the 4, keep the 1.
No.
And how come they don't say this season, drop the 4, keep the 2?
Keep the 2. But
Yeah.
no, wait, are you being serious? So that was like common knowledge?
I think so. This is not like the 41st Survivor. This is like the first thing of a new Survivor. This is like Survivor 1.
I thought it was going to have something to do with an idol in the chat.
You thought it was like a clue.
Yeah, like what? Why not? Like why the performance, Jeffrey?
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, I think that maybe I wonder if they're looking for just like more and more ways to describe the season, like that all these analogies that they're always talking about, like what is this game like? And it's like they found one that they really liked of like, the game is like a monster that's chasing you and you can't stop. Like, oh, okay. That's just what that's we've already found the perfect analogy. Why are we even keeping going with more analogies?
I bet my bottom dollar it's Jeff and them Zoom meetings. Like, listen, guys, drop the 4, keep the 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, Jeff.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Jeff. Yeah, we'll go with it. Or no, Jeff, we're not going to use it. Well, I'm going to say it anyway.
It's working. Brice, I have a very important question for you from our friend and Philly native, Josh Green. That's a question for you.
Baby boy, what's going on, Rob and Brice? It's Josh Green from Philly. If it's the Brice Feedback Show, there's really only one damn question to ask. Brice, who's the freakiest freak? Can't wait for the feedback show. It's like a holiday in RHAP.
Holiday? Wow.
Man.
Yeah. Who's the freak? Yes. Brice, for any of our new listeners, is it worth explaining what the freakiest freak is?
So, yes, the freakiest freak is, honestly, I don't know. It's like, no, the freakiest freak is, it has morphed and changed over the years. But honestly, it is just the castaway that brings me and the viewers so much joy, whether it is them being funny, whether it is them just, innuendos that are, it is just the highly prestigious award here on the holiday RHAP show. That is the freakiest freak. And we've had a number of people join the illustrious freakiest freak. Okay.
Yes.
Honorary to our first member, Dale Whitworth, Farm Guy 69.
Incredible.
And still to this day, I love me some Dale. But I just always just think in my head, and I know
drop the 6, keep the 9.
I just want to know when the Twitter came And he had to make the Twitter account. If I could be a Romeo by the fire eating rice, just know what baby boy Dale was thinking. Or like I would hope that maybe, sometimes when you put your name in and like your number, then they like jumble it up and like, it just comes up. But I don't think that that's happened with Dale, but I just think that he's like, this Twitter thing. And mind you, the account had been made because it tell you the year it was made. It was made before he was on Survivor. So it wasn't like, but I just, I like to farm. Okay.
Yeah.
Farm. I'm a guy. I don't know. Maybe his birthday is June 9th. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But we just appreciate that moment.
Yeah, I don't think he was born in 1969.
His birthday could have been June 9th.
I guess that's Steven's anniversary.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You never forget it. Yeah. Maybe were there 68 farm guys already?
And he had to hurry up.
I don't want to be farm guy 70.
Farm guy 58. Oh no, farm guy 54. Farm guy 68. And oh no, farm guy 69. Ding. Yes.
You got it.
And
but
then
Brice,
I just think, sorry, wait, just elaborate a little bit more. Then I gotta think like Kelly ain't say nothing to you. Like,
yeah, it's like, hey, I guess what? Dad got a Twitter account today. What is it?
Well, listen, Kelly.
Yeah.
It was a battle royale. I tried to get Farm Guy 50 and somebody had it.
Yeah, and Kelly was like,
oh, hell no.
Dale. We love you, Dale. Okay. I don't know why I just picture him at the computer. Just that imagery is something that lives rent free in my head. So for the crown of the freakiest freak,
yes,
I would have to say that one, I am honored that this season it is going to a pre-merger. Okay, because first of all, the pre-mergers don't get enough love in this building. And previous seasons, it's been a lot of people after the merge. But I mean, is there any question for this season? If somebody creates a juicy behind alliance, I don't think that there is a question that it is Lydia Meredith is this season's freakiest freak. We stand the queen Lydia. And if you are not on her TikToks, if you are not watching her social media, you are doing yourself a disservice. Lydia is if Lydia were to be an alcoholic drink, she definitely is a shot of Fireball because she is amazing. I love her, and I love the confidence that she exudes. I love the vulnerable story she shared with us this season, and just like just live your life, be yourself, be proud of who you are, the skin that you in. And listen, we love Queen Lydia. She is absolutely this year's, week's, months, seasons, freakiest freak. Okay, I'm trying to join the Juicy Booty Alliance.
The big fat juicy alliance. And I'm surprised you didn't call her by her Twitter handle, Lydia Chlamydia.
Farm Guy 69, you got competition.
Yeah.
Enough said. I mean,
yeah. We missed a tweet of hers recently. She tweeted, I was so constipated on Survivor, but she puts the asterisk so like it does, like you can't search for it. I dead ass didn't S word until day 7. Traumatizing. So the word survivor, she changed up. So, I don't know, she didn't want to show up. But the S word for pooping, that's in there. She's wild.
She is a shot of fireball. I
Mhm.
love Lydia the chlamydia. Okay, I cannot wait until the day that we meet because it is going to be an epic showdown.
What will you do?
I don't know. We might just have some fun and get diarrhea together. I don't know. You just never know. You just never know. Okay.
I didn't know that was an option.
Listen, we might just one day just take some laxatives and hang out.
And
pod about it.
Wow. That would be a first. That's never happened before.
Listen, I've been a trendsetter, Robert. Okay. I've never been one to go against the grain.
All right. Well, congratulations to Lydia.
Okay. I just try to think of the setup of the podcast, but I mean, listen.
So the laxative podcast.
Yes.
So I think that the podcast is, if I was going to give you, I mean, far be it from me, to give you, this is your idea. I think the podcast starts, it's a laxative podcast.
Okay.
And we're gonna lax, and you just sit back and relax like you're in Wendell's sleep number bed, and then but here's the thing: you take the laxative at the start of the podcast. The podcast starts. Okay, Lydia and I, we just took the laxative. We are ready to go. And then you podcast as normal. But now the tension is building. Yes. Yes. And the audience is on the edge of its seat. Oh, like, what's going to happen next? Who's going to be the first person to get up from the podcast? Now, people might think that's what happened to my video earlier in the podcast.
Okay. The laxative kicked in.
The laxative kicked in. But really, my power flickered at my house. Threw the whole thing off. But wouldn't that be such delicious tension?
Yes, and we need a sound buzzer that's the toilet flusher. And when we gotta go, you gotta whoosh.
Yeah. Would you have a third person on, like, just to, like, in case, or then no, you, or just like because you have you, but you think that Lydia, like, when you have to run to the bathroom, do you think that Lydia will be able to just hold things down without you?
She might let it go. I don't know.
She might let it go.
Let it go.
And what happens if both of you have to leave the podcast at the same time?
Then the screen, there's dead air. And then it's who gets back first is a point.
Yeah.
And then who has to go again gets an extra point. Here I am thinking we might have to add Shannon into this because now we talking points.
Yes,
Shannon gets very competitive.
Might have to rename the Chizzy points. Call them something else. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a lot. Well, I mean, imagine we had to get the fast acting ones too. But random story of a random story. I went to Mexico when I was 9th to 10th grade, so however old I was, that was only like 6 years ago. But I had got this opportunity to live abroad all summer, and like I had to go to the travel doctor to get all these shots, and they like recommended my mom. They're like, when you don't drink the water and you eat different, like they just were like preparing me for like what to do, not to do. And I remember she was like, and your son should take this medically prescribed laxative when he gets back to like flush his system out. So I was like, okay. So I was like gone from Mexico for 2 months. I came back and I'll never forget. And I'd never taken a laxative before. I took it. Nothing happened. I went to sleep. But the way my stomach cramped up was like for hours. Like my stomach was like, and so weirdly enough, the whole experience, the best part of the experience was like I somewhat kind of enjoyed my stomach cramping up. Like it was like when you like have a drunken night and you throw up, and while you're throwing up, it's like the worst feeling ever. But the second that you're done, it's like euphoria.
Yeah, I think I saw that on Euphoria. That's why they call the show that. Yeah.
But I don't know. But I've yearned for that crampy feeling again. But
yes, so chasing the dragon at this point, trying to chase that high again.
I don't know why I just told that story, but it's not the God's honest truth.
It was the best story that I've heard on the podcast this season.
It was like hours, like it was like, but I was like in pain.
Yeah.
So
can you but if this tribal council was like taking a laxative, Brice, how would that be?
That would be a show. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Like, well, Jeff, you don't know what's gonna happen. And you don't know when, but at some point, there's going to be a big move happening tonight. And you just got to hope that you're in the right seat.
That's the Monte Carlo dilemma. That is how they should do the Monte Carlo or Montel Hall.
So there's 3 pills you take, and one is a placebo.
And you know,
one's a Tic Tac,
and one's the extra strict laxative. And you know how Jeff always be like, for the and so the viewers know.
Yeah,
you know, like they show, like, oh, we won't know. You don't have to tell us. Listen, Jeff, let me get in that Zoom meeting. I got an idea. We're not going to drop the 1, but we going to drop something.
Drop the 2.
Not drop the 2. That joke wrote itself. Drop the phone and keep the phone and drop the deuce.
Yes. we've totally look, ratings, Jeff. The new era.
Oh, the new era. Oh, I just got lightheaded.
I'm sweating. It's too much.
Oh, can you imagine?
Would you switch if you were in the do or die? Would you switch the box? Would you do would you follow the Monty Hall problem as the experts say you should?
The only thing I knew the experts say was I watched the Montel Jones show, so I don't know.
Montel Jones.
I mean, or not. Montel Jordan is the he got that song, but there was a
Montel Williams. Yeah.
Montel Williams.
Yes.
And then. You know, Montel Williams' whole body is like tatted up. Did we talk about this before?
We definitely talked about Montel Williams versus Montel Jordan last season. I don't know if we talked about Montel Williams' tattoos.
It just was, and I don't know why I was Googling him, but again, you see him on the show if y'all remember the show, but like he's like tatted up.
Yeah, I gotta look at this. Okay.
I said, oh my God.
Got a lot of tattoos?
Yeah, I was surprising.
Look at his Instagram. Yeah. Okay.
But I don't know. I don't know how to drive a Monte Carlo, and I don't know, like, they say you're supposed to keep switching and keep switching. But
so when I talked to Ricard, Ricard seemed to feel like that Jeff sort of like motions to people, like points to like one of these is gonna keep you safe, and the other 2 are not. Okay, which one do you want? And that he feels like that maybe Jeff is like subliminally guiding people to the right box, and that's why when people are not switching, that's why it keeps working out.
And I would be the one that like would think that he was saying not to that one. I don't know. And then with the Monte Carlo, is there a number of times that you can switch? Or you can just keep switching?
No, just you could only switch once.
Oh.
Yeah. So, that's the and now somebody else is sending me a picture today of this. Let me see if I can bring this up on my Twitter. That the do or die boxes have markings on them. Okay. And that's one of the things that people have noticed. Okay. So this is from Alex Kuntz shares a tweet here. Let me bring this up on the screen for you, and I want to get your thoughts on this, Brice. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So are the boxes marked in a way that you can see what's going on? All right. Check this out. Tell me what you think about this. And are the players picking up on this? So Alex Kuntz is in a tweet thread. So Alex Kuntz asks, could future players memorize the wood texture of the correct do or die box? I would guess the paper is somewhat permanently set into those boxes. Another one of our patrons says, no, Noah says, oh no, I hope this twist is gone. And so check this out, Brice. All right. Can you see this? So it looks like
like a crime scene.
It looks like a crime scene. That it looks like that the box that is the fire box has a yellow stripe on the bottom.
Oh.
Where the boxes that are not the right boxes, and also it also has like gold thing, like has 4 gold things on it, and the boxes that are not right seem to maybe not have those things. It looks like that the boxes are different. So look, if you're on Survivor 44 and they do or die, pick the box that has the yellow stripe on the bottom, because that's the box that has the fire.
Report back to us.
Yeah, because they want to make sure that Jeff doesn't
mess it up.
Yeah, it doesn't mess it up. Also, does it look like that Jeff has like some polish here, Brice?
I don't know. It might look like Jeff might have lost a thumbnail.
Interesting. Okay. So something to keep an eye on for future seasons of Survivor. They might just want to switch to go right to the take the laxative.
Yeah. It's more continuity in that one.
More continuity. Okay. We haven't talked too much about the knowledge is power. Let me play this question for you. This is from one of our listeners, Dan.
Hey, Rob. Dan from Plymouth, Minnesota here. I have a question about a potential use for the knowledge is power. In a future season, do you think someone could bluff having the knowledge is power advantage to trick someone into either telling them they have an idol or actually giving them one? That would be a pretty cool thing to see. Let me know what you think.
Okay, Brice, we're on season 43 of Survivor, and I sit there at Tribal Council. So I have something, and then I read, I have the knowledge is power advantage. Brice, do you have an idol? And then you have to give it to you. Like, do you think that somebody like some producer or Jeff would be like, no, stop.
So I think that that's an interesting take. I think it would have to. I don't think Jeff would allow it to happen, but I do think it could, like, depending on how you do it. Like, well, Jeff, listen, I got the knowledge is power, and it says that anyone, and like you would have to say it in a way before Jeff could confirm it. So it'd be like, Jeff, I got the knowledge is power, and I get to ask anyone what they have. Rob, do you have a idol?
Go fish.
I forgot how go fish. Oh, you're supposed to keep saying go fish until you like. Okay, right. So,
it's like any sevens. Yeah.
But I would think that so could it work? Yes. Would you need Eric out there for it to work? Yes. But
I think that that Jeff would make you stop before you
or the person would just turn to Jeff and say, is this real? Like, that's what I would do.
Yeah, you should say that.
So I put in my note with the yellow box thing. But yeah, I would just turn to Jeff and I would act like it's work. I don't take, we co-workers. I listen to the supervisor.
Yeah, because this was interesting that Jeff said this at the tribal council.
And I can verify they can't lie because I know who has what.
Perfect.
Okay.
I can verify if they're lying because I know who has what.
So,
Interesting.
I guess before tribal, you got to go through TSA now.
Right. But Brice, didn't it used to be that Jeff would be like, "Oh, I don't know anything. I'm just like, I sit down and we're just having a conversation."
Those Zoom calls are getting to Jeff's head. He's like, I need to know more.
Yeah. And could a future player, if Jeff does know everything and knows who has all of the idols and advantages, like, could you sort of gauge Jeff's reaction to things and sort of be able to tell who has what advantages?
But how would you gauge Jeff's?
What if he has a big reaction and you say well, I know that Brice has an idol tonight. And if Jeff's like, really? Could you take anything away from it? If Jeff has all the information, could you now that was kind of an interesting admission.
I don't see. So maybe I'm a little slow here. So you're saying that if we're in tribal,
yeah,
you would, and somebody is playing the knowledge is power, or just somebody.
So I don't know. I just sort of that was kind of an admission from Jeff that he not only does he know. So if he knows who has what advantages, he also knows definitively who's going home at that tribal council. I think that you could sort of really get some actionable information by the way that Jeff is conducting the tribal council.
True, but I took that as he knows what everyone has in the sense of, I would imagine, because I could be in, I took that as before you go on a tribal council, you talk to a producer and they tell you what you have, and then Jeff, they tell Jeff so that nobody could sit there and have the idol and have it and lie.
Okay,
but I mean, Jeff knows all, and so I don't know.
He knows all. I had a couple other sound clips that I haven't played yet. So I want to know what you thought about Omer and the advice his parents gave him to get him to this point.
Because I grew up, my parents you get an education and that's it. You don't go to gym class. I don't care.
So that Omer's parents wanted him to wear it on his education, but did they tell him not to go to gym class?
No gym. You're not going. You know how many people I would love.
I didn't know that was an option.
Right. Okay, listen. Because I used to hate having to swim.
Yeah. Well, you swim in gym class.
So yeah, we my high school, we had to swim, and it was the ninth graders, we would have to swim. Not that I hated to swim, but our gym was old and I had gym in January. So who trying to be soggy? Listen. So I ain't mad at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we didn't have a pool at my school. Yeah, but you could skip it.
Yeah, I mean, but then they would tell your parents.
Yeah, he's like, my parents told me to skip it. Right. They told me. Mike also that Mike was definitely thinking about playing the idol.
And quite frankly, I have an idol in my pocket. If I feel even the bittest that I'm being played, I will not hesitate to play it in a second.
Okay. If Mike's feeling even the bittest that he's going to get played.
Mike's a straight shooter. And I'm not mad, though, because I see that dilemma with Mike, because they could be Ericing him.
Yeah.
So, but Mikey no likey. Mikey lets you know.
That's for sure. For sure.
Mikey no likey.
Okay. Brice, all right. Next week, we have to get down to the final 5. All right. The next person to go out is going to be who?
I'm going to say, I feel like the next person to go home is between Lindsay, O, and Mike.
And 2 of those 3, okay. And is Omer going to give the idol back to Mike?
I would think so. I don't think
Okay.
that I couldn't see in a world that he would not give it back.
Okay, so Lindsay and Mike have idols then.
Oh. Okay. I don't want
Yeah.
it to be. I don't want to say but I just think that for me, they're the biggest targets right now. But yeah, I mean, is next week they have to play their idols.
So I think that the real idols could be played until 5, which are the Marianne and Mike. I think that the amulet idol and the extra votes might only be able to be played until 6. So Marianne has the idol and has the extra vote and has maybe Romeo. That's 3 votes. If they could pick up one more person. But what do they want to do?
I mean, yeah. And even in that situation, I could maybe even see it could be Jonathan.
Mm-hmm. I wonder maybe if they could they pick up maybe like a Omer and then vote out Mike and then because Mike is going to play his idol at the next one. And then so this is the last night you can get Mike before the final 5.
Right. So yeah, no, that yeah. So yeah. So maybe in that thinking, it could be Mike or Jonathan. But again, after like my epiphany, well, no, because does Mike have to play his idol or his idol is good until?
So I think his idol is good until 5. So
Okay.
this might be the perfect time to get Mike because Mike is thinking, hey, I'm gonna play my idol next time. I just have to get through to this one.
But in true Survivor fashion, then Mike gonna end up winning immunity, and
he hasn't won one yet. Yeah,
this could be his time. So yeah, or I mean, it could be Jonathan, but I would think. I mean, I don't know. Now I've had a change of heart on how he places. So I
have one every day.
About Jonathan or just
not about Jonathan, about well, sometimes I think that Jonathan's going to go out this week, and sometimes I think he'll make it to. Now I'm thinking he could get to the end.
Yeah, I think so too. But I think that Monday morning quarterbacking. But again, I know Lindsay wants him out. I'm sure Marianne would be with it. I'm sure Romeo at this point would be good with voting you or me out. So it's like, he down for whatever. So it could be Jonathan if he doesn't win and Lindsay wins. Or yeah, could be Jonathan or Mike, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Mike. And who's gonna win?
I don't know. I would be happy with Omer. I would be happy with a Marianne. I would be happy with a Lindsay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
you'll be happy, but who will do it?
Who was my winner picking? It's a look. It was who I say. I think it was Marianne. So okay, we're gonna go with my Issa look. I'm gonna stick with the Issa look.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Cause again, I could see it being everybody. Maybe not so much Romeo, even though I'm rooting for him, but I really could see it being a lot. But again, I think that was a very telltale. It's a lot. It's a very telltale moment we got from Marianne when she was describing her placement early on in the episode, and she was like, and I don't really have a target on my back, and that's when I was just like, ooh, is this when we started noticing Erica? So I don't know, but I'm gonna stick with the Issa look.
Okay. People would go nuts if Marianne could win this thing.
It would be great.
She's got some votes on the jury that Tori loved Marianne. Tori felt like that Marianne was her closest ally. Drea, I think, would be open to it. Depends on like who she's up against. I think she did say, Lindsay, I'm rooting for you. And so I think that Lindsay would get Drea's vote, but Marianne would definitely be up there for Drea. And could Omer, if he's not there, could Romeo, if he's not there, be Marianne votes? So I do think that, like, when you think about it, Marianne does have votes that are out there,
right?
So we'll see. Not counting on that Roxroy vote.
Roxroy, Who you voting for? What's the vote?
Yeah. All right, Brice. Anything else you want to talk about with Survivor?
I mean, I'm just trying to hurry up and fast forward so we could get to it, so we could see. Because again, I'm excited for the finale, but it's next week's episode for me that I think will really shape it up, and that I can have a firm prediction of what's going to happen. So I'm excited, just loving the season, loving the content, and
and then the finale night.
Oh,
you and Wendeezy have another big event coming up in Southern California with the great Lauren Ashley Beck.
Yes, we are out there, Brice and Win present. We are heading to LA to bring in this epic season, and why not watch it with us? So we are going to LA, like Rob said, and Lauren Ashley Beck, and it's going to be an amazing time.
LA with LAB.
LAB. Oh yeah. Sorry. The laxative almost kicked in. But yes, Brice and Win presents with Lauren Ashley Beck. Take over LA and the finale. We've got so many amazing reality stars that have confirmed that will be there. It's going to be such an amazing time. And this is Brice and Win present, first time to the LA. And you know how we get the party started. It'll be a great time. So if you are interested in going, listen, you better click the link in my Instagram or Twitter bio, or you can head over to the Brice and Win present Instagram page and get your life and click the link, and we will see you there. And at a Brice and Win present party, it's always surprises.
Always.
Always. Might be some do or dies.
Do or die. Don't say that.
It might be some Monte Harlow's. You just never know.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It'll be a great time. I'm excited. It's the first time I've been in LA in a while, so I'm trying to see what the West Coast is about.
Yes. When was the last time you were on the West Coast? It wasn't your finale, was it?
Yes, it was.
Oh my God.
Yes, it was. And I wasn't even happy at my finale. So after the finale, I went right to my room. I was like, I'm not even going out. I'm staying in my room. Yes, I was upset. Random story of a random story. So one, I was just really excited because it's the first time I was able to see a lot of our cast members. And I remember we were running through how the night would look. And, we did like a dress rehearsal essentially. And we're all talking and Jeff's talking to us. And he's like, I was hoping for an old school reunion. And at the time, the reunions were kind of sort of highly contested because it was that one season where the pre-jury didn't even sit on things. So it was like a big deal. And so like Jeff's talking to us, we're cutting up, and he's like, unfortunately, we won't be able to talk to everybody. So, we got super funny people like Brice. And I'm like, well, why are you pointing at me and saying my name like that?
Right.
And finale night, he talks to David, Garrett, skips me, just like literally talk to everyone but me. And I was just upset. I was just like, wow, okay. So I was over it. That was just the cherry of my experience, that it was like, oh, great. Yet again, overlooked, And so I was done. I had gone with my best friend to the finale, and I was over it. And which was so funny. I went to the room. I'm like, I'm not going out. And my friend was like, okay, well, would you be mad if I just went out with Jatia and then Jatia, then my friend left and she went out with Jatia with everyone essentially. And then I guess she had given word to Jatia that I was upset, and Jatia, like in Ponderosa, came knocking on my door and was like, what are you, get up? And so Jatia dragged me out. But yeah, I was upset.
Yeah. And I was upset that I didn't see anybody from your cast that night because somebody talked me into having a different party and said, okay, well, look, everybody's going to come to this party. And nobody came to that party that I was at.
Which is so funny that you say that, because the next morning when I got up, you had sent me a message on Facebook.
Yes.
And I wish I would have seen that because I wanted nothing. That was so funny because I remember thinking that I was like, oh my God, I would have went to go see Rob because I was over.
Yeah. Nobody came. Nobody. I was like, what do I like? I got talked into some. I got some bad advice. What are you gonna do?
Mikey, no,
Mikey, no likey. I said, never again. I'm gonna do this. Okay. But Brice, all the best of luck with the Los Angeles party coming up for the finale. Of course, where can people check out the Purple Pants podcast twice a week?
Yes. Twice a week, we're giving you the Purple Pants Podcast and the Survivor News Edition. The Purple Pants Podcast, we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is that you get your podcast from. Hit subscribe, show your baby boy some love. But listen, the podcast is ever evolving. We're always adding new segments. I'm so excited. One of my favorite ones is Casual Tea with Amon Altwin. And we talk and break down everything that's going on, current events. We don't shy away from any topics. We've recently started a new segment called the Purple Pants Playlist with Isaiah Goins and myself, and we are breaking down music, just different types of music. I am a huge music listener, so we love to just discover new artists. And your baby boy has decided that I kind of sort of like sports, so we've got the Purple Pants play-by-play with my good friend Joey Hatch, who is a sports fanatic, and we are covering all things sports, but more specifically right now, the NBA playoffs. And let me just say, Rob, I like basketball. So, I mean, yes, for the obvious reason, I love to, watch, and I'd be like, ooh, who's number 3 on the Lakers? Who that Tatum? But, I stand for LaMelo Ball, but I don't normally like preseason. I have to say the playoffs are so exciting.
Yes. Not happy times for the hometown team.
Not all the way. But I just love the series. I love that somebody could be down 3 games and all of a sudden, it's just so amazing to me. And, P Valley is coming back. So I am just excited. We got a lot of stuff over there on the Purple Pants Podcast. So go over there and give your baby boy some love. And just shout out to the Purple Pants Posse. Shout out to the RHAP family who always shows me so much love, especially you, the baby boy that is Robert. And again,
How could I not?
I'm just so happy to be here. And it was even more exciting to be back home, what it felt like at the RHAP live event. It was just fun to just see everyone. So again, just thank you guys. I love your baby boy loves you.
It was so nice to be back in person with you last week and see you and Wendell. And I look, you're out you out here all the time. But for me, this was my first time being back and seeing people in a big gathering like this in years. And it was just so wonderful to be able to, reconnect with all of the fans because they all have such great stories and everybody's so excited. And so it's such a nice, sense of community that you get when you are out with the Survivor fans. And it was just really cool to experience that again.
Yeah. And I don't know how you do it, Rob, because I'm a crybaby. I can't tell you how many people that I was able to speak with and they were just sharing the fact that, or just sharing the fact that my voice matters and that it means something to them. And I was in the corner just crying my eyes out because it really does mean a lot. And again, I always say, you've really cultivated a community where people feel comfortable being themselves and you just get to meet so many amazing people. And shout out to all of the podcasters that were there. I felt like I was fanning out over them because I'm like, oh, I listened to you. And I got to just see everyone. So we look forward to, hopefully, fingers crossed. We don't know what Nicole gonna say, but hopefully,
Yeah, I was lucky I got to this one. I don't know when Nicole's gonna let me go to another thing, but we'll see. Hopefully in the fall, we'll get back together. And in the meantime, catch Brice and Wen all over the country.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. We still have our big Survivor Academy coming up for the patrons this weekend. Vanessa Hewitt is going to join me for that one for the patrons. RobinsonWebsite.com/patron. And if you missed my podcast with Ricard or my exit interview with Drea, check that out at RobinsonWebsite.com, plus everything else going on in our Survivor podcast feed. Thank you for joining us. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.